Thank you for coming back for the third week in this study, Identity Crisis. Today we're going to talk about identity theft and identity protection. Those words are not uncommon in our society today. Identity theft is actually the number one consumer crime in America currently. And most of us usually think of identity theft as having your credit card number stolen, and you get a call from the credit card company saying somebody is charging money at a gas pump in Arizona. Was that you? And obviously you say no, and they shut the card down. However, identity theft oftentimes for many people runs much deeper than that. Sometimes people have their whole identities stolen, and thieves can rack up mortgages, insurance plans, medical bills, all kinds of stuff. Even childhood identity theft is on the rise right now because children have clear credit histories. I guess it's easy to steal the identity of children, and people will rack up all kinds of debt on childhood identities, and you may not even know about it until you go trying to get financing for college tuition. And because of the prevalence of identity theft, there are many, many companies that are also offering to you identity protection, a product that you can buy to have your identity protected. However, most of the time, identity protection plans aren't necessarily protecting you from identity theft. They actually are more like identity insurance plans. They're there to do all the cleanup for you after your identity gets stolen, because if you really get your identity stolen, it's quite a bit of a messy work getting it cleaned back up, and maybe some of you have experienced that before. As Christian people with Christian identities, I believe that our Christian identity is being stolen. And just like the best identity thieves, we often don't know that it's happening until it's too late. Satan and the world slowly, deliberately erode away, piece by piece, what it means to be Christians. And then some Christians even sadly buy into what the world is doing. Instead of first realizing that we are created by God as His humans, dependent on Him, instead of realizing that our core identity is in Christ, given to us by Him in baptism, we are told to look first to the physical and emotional characteristics of people, and to look at the physical, emotional ideals of what it is that we think we want the world to be, and let those things be the driving force of shaping identity and shaping society. We have all these false ideas in our minds and false hopes. We build up all kinds of false walls of security, thinking that by achieving our own desires or that our performance in our work can somehow determine our identity and protect us. We secure ourselves with all sorts of frail foundations, which in time fail as well. Our identity gets stolen when we fail to fear, love, and trust in God above all things. Those are three famous words by Martin Luther that he speaks over and over again in the Small Catechism. We are to fear, love, and trust in God above all things. Think about it like this. If we actually fear, love, and trust in God above all things, it means that we don't put hope in ourselves. It means we put hope in the one who created us. And when we fear, love, and trust in God above all things, God opens up a way to settle our anxieties and to bring us peace. Because we realize then that we are dependent on Him, but our dependence on Him is actually a good thing for us. Because He is the one who is strong in battle. He is the one who fights for us. He is the one who gives us His own armor to wear to shield us from the attacks of the evil one. In this study, you're going to be speaking about and sharing experiences, potentially about attacks and temptations of the evil one. Now, before you get into this, let me remind you again, the battle has been won. Jesus is victorious over the devil. Satan has no power over you. You're clothed with the righteousness of Christ. You are labeled and marked as one redeemed by Jesus Christ the crucified. So if at any time during the study or after the study you feel worried, fearful, stop and pray. You belong to Christ. You are His, and He will always win for you. As a Christian, your identity protection has already been paid for. You don't need to go searching for a product to put on. You don't need to put your hope in your work or in your manufactured identity. You don't need to put your hope in the government or in the society. You don't owe anything to protect yourself. Jesus promises that He is always with you. He will always protect you. His armor is yours. As a baptized child of God, your payment has been paid. You belong to Him. He has promised to never leave you nor forsake you. Today, you're going to be encouraged to learn Martin Luther's morning prayer and his evening prayer. Martin Luther was a man who was keenly aware of the struggles of sin in the world. And the German word that he talked about a lot is the word Anfechtung. It sounds like a heavy word. It's a word that means a challenge or a spiritual struggle. Martin Luther had a lot of Anfechtung, a lot of attacks of the evil one, and a lot of attacks by forces in the world. And he was one who found his peace and his rest in fearing, loving, and trusting in God above all else. And he found his armor and his protection in the one who had redeemed him. So I would encourage you to learn these prayers, morning prayer and the evening prayer, because in praying these prayers, you're also asking for protection for you and your family in Jesus Christ. So pray these prayers. May you see your protection in Jesus Christ is already paid for. You are labeled, remember, as a child of God in holy baptism. And when you wear that label, Satan cannot touch you. Have a blessed time in study.